Well, hi everyone. Alex here from Until the Next Tee.blog and this podcast, TeeBox Chatter. This week on the PGA Tour or in men's professional golf, we have a little tournament. We're going to be watching a place known as Bobby Jones's place, and that's Augusta National, and it's the Masters this week. So joining me on the tee from Ireland, I have Tom Kennedy from Experience Ireland Golf. Tom, thank you so much for joining me today on this Masters edition of T-Box Chatter.
Hey Alex, yeah, happy Masters Week. I know some places around the world haven't started their golf season yet, but the Masters always kind of heralds it in Ireland anyway. We've another probably just under 3 weeks to go until the courses reopen, but it's good to be. I think we've been spoiled with the golf on TV recently, so the Masters is rolling in, so it's going to be a great watch. I suppose, various spouses and partners and all of golfers around the world are, kind of hitting Masters Week or the majors usually, because it's like every evening, especially on this side anyway of the world, with the coverage on in the evenings, that it's pretty much everything else takes a back seat. So no reality TV apart from this particular reality TV, which is the Masters. You'd probably watch it starting today the whole way through, to Sunday night. So you really test some relationships this week with all the golf going on.
Very well said, and I know that's always an issue here in this household too, where the Masters is on. You know what? Just sort of kind of leave me be. The way I look at the Masters too is sort of kind of a weird thing, because every year I try to tell myself that I'm not excited for it, and then Masters Week, it's that Valero Texas Open, which of course was big because Jordan Spieth, is back. He's risen, as everyone was saying, on Easter Sunday, and when we get to that day of the week right before the Masters, I start feeling the excitement. Admittedly, I'm jilted because I've never been on the grounds there, and I just want to know what the place smells like, see if it smells like it looks. So have you actually been on the grounds at Augusta National?
No, sir. No, not yet. Anyway, hopefully in the near future. But yeah, it's on the bucket list. It's a long-term goal, so we'll hopefully get there. My current background is the Dare Manor that's got the sub-air systems in the green, so that's close to Augusta as I'll get at the moment. But it's a definite trip for the future.
Excellent. And I mean, personally speaking, I had one opportunity for practice round tickets. I don't care about going to see an actual tournament round there. I want to go for the practice so I can take pictures and remember everything and just take it all in. But the year that I got the practice round tickets, there was a little glitch between my banking information and my house address that it was put towards, and I lost my allotment of tickets. I found out about it too late. And Game Set Match, I haven't had a sniff since, and that was probably about 6 years ago now.
That's not nice. No, definitely not. I've been in. I suppose I've been on the email kind of lottery before, but never come up yet. But I mean, I know there's a few guys based in Ireland that do trips every year, and they go down like to Harbour Town and play a few courses around there, and then head up to Augusta. Kind of, I think they might do the par 3, the day of the par 3, and the first day of the tournament, and then they go off and play a bit more golf and head away. I suppose Saturday, Sunday probably gets a bit nutty, but with numbers and stuff. So you probably again it's like going to any live tournament. You'll never see as much golf as you will just sitting on the couch watching it on TV on one of the channels that you can pause it while you go fix yourself a beverage or go go drain the spuds or whatever. So it is in terms of viewer experience, it's obviously easier on TV, and like every minute detail has gone through on the telecasts. But there's nothing quite like being there. It's like being at a Ryder Cup really, or one of the other big sporting events. It's just not the same. The atmosphere, you really get to soak it in when you're there in person.
Now, before we really continue on with the Masters, I think that we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about the first major of the year, which of course was this past week, the ANA Inspiration on the LPGA. Did you watch any of that tournament?
Yeah, we watched a bit of it actually because Stephanie Meadow and Leona Maguire from Ireland were both in contention at one stage. I know Leona had a great start on either the Friday or Saturday and led for a brief time. But there was some serious golf played, and we also had the Augusta Nationals women's amateur. Our own Olivia Mahaffey, I think, was 2 shots out of the playoff. A couple of bogeys in the final round, so it was a nearly a very memorable week for Irish golf. Albeit the ladies and they don't get as much coverage as the guys, and they really should have last week because all 3 of them played some great stuff. And I mean, if Olivia could have got the job done, I suppose, and Augusta would have been a pretty cool thing to say that the first Irish golfer to win at Augusta was one of the ladies. So I think she might have played last year too, but it was a very good performance. I think for 3 rounds she was 3 over par, which was good going around there. Especially as an amateur, albeit one of the top amateurs, and she's done very well. On the Symetra tour as well, she had a very good finish. She was 11 or 12 under par, I think, there the week before or 2 weeks previous. So there was definitely some Irish interest, which was great. And the winner of the ANA was streets ahead. Like Jesus, she went mental altogether over the weekend, especially. So some serious golf. Some serious golf. So I suppose they snuck in ahead of Augusta and got a few good tournaments in before the Masters event.
And just going back to the ANA real fast, our winner there, Patty. I don't want to embarrass myself by trying to enunciate her name here on the spot, but our champion there. I mean, what can you say about her? She's a rookie. She's 21 years old, averaging 325 off the tee in the tournament. I mean, she's going to be around for a long time, and I can see her winning a lot of tournaments. And I mean, what Lydia Ko did on Sunday as well, firing a 62. I mean, what can you say about that as well? I mean, just some spectacular golf. And of course, we had drive, chip, and putt contest too. So not only do we have the first major of the year, the ANA, we have the Augusta National Women's Amateur, and then we also have the chip and putt, drive, chip, and putt, which some Canadians did pretty good there in the 7 to 9 age bracket. Who was it that tweeted about the one girl? Phil Nicholson.
Phil.
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah, about her chipping technique. Yeah,
Yes.
It's kind of cool. So it's nice. I mean, Bubba was there. I think he was there all decked out in his green jacket and cheering him on a bit as well. So it's an amazing event for Augusta to put on. And I mean, it'd be nice to it'd be nice to get something like that on this side as well. Even whether it might be in St Andrews or put Marnock or Adair or one of or County Down or Port Rush or one of those courses, even the Hinch or something like that. It'd be really cool to see the juniors on this side. I'm not sure about the exact kind of entry criteria. I know they had some qualifiers a couple of years ago. They couldn't do them last year, so I'm not sure. I suppose how you get into it into the event, but we've got. Let's hope I have two or at least 3 golfers in up and coming on my side. They're a bit young yet, maybe to pick up the clubs, but we'll put the chip and putt at Augusta one of the hopefully one of the on the to do golfing list. So might be the only way I get into Augusta if they're playing.
And as far as that side of the pond where doing a drive, chip, and putt, it'd almost be nice if they could tie it in somehow to the Open Championship week. Just to, in a way similar, it's reminiscent to what they do with Augusta National and the Masters.
Yeah, I think they might do. I think they might do a 9-hole event at one of the local courses too, where the Open is on that week. It might take place on the Tuesday or Wednesday. I know. I mean, they have the Junior Open Championship that takes place, I think, usually, because I was at it in West Lancashire in 2014. It was won by Kevin LeBlanc, who's a member of the Island Golf Club in Dublin. He's now on tour, but he won by a couple of shots that year. It was a really, really good finish, actually. It was, I think you have to be under 15 or 16 to play in it. And it might be every 2 years. It could be annual now, but it used to be every 2 years. So, depending on when you kind of got into your stride in terms of your golf as a kid, you might miss out on the kind of biannual event side of it. But the Junior Open Championship was always, I suppose, a big one for those in Ireland and the UK trying to get into that, because it was a fairly limited field. But there'd be I think Sergio won it before. I'm not sure if Rory did, but I think he played in it. So there's a pretty cool roll of honor. Not sure if Justin Thomas might have been one of the winners as well, but there's a kind of a good correlation between those who've won the Junior Open and have, I suppose, been close to Open champion, or at least a major champion, within the preceding kind of 15 to 20 years. So that's kind of a nice event that takes place. Usually, I think it's the start of Open Championship week, and then I suppose the kids, I suppose they're still kids when they've won that. Teenagers, at least, they head on then, probably watch the Open for a few days. I was lucky to go to it in 2014 when I was national director of golf in Ghana. So it was a good experience to kind of see a couple of the dinners that go on behind the scenes with the RNA and their members and stuff. There's a lot goes on kind of outside of what you see in the TV coverage. I'm sure plenty that we don't see at Augusta as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of Augusta, we have the 2021 Masters. It seems like we just played the 2020 Masters. That was a quick year. Oh no, wait, because it was played in October. But anyways, what do you think it's going to be like this week? I mean, we have typical April Augusta national conditions, where that October event, it was October, right? Was it October?
Might have been November.
November.
I think, yeah.
And I mean, the conditions were a little bit different than where we saw receptive greens. It was playing a little bit softer. There was rain in the forecast. So what do you think we're going to see in comparison to when DJ won in 2020 versus this week?
I mean, if he plays like he did in November, he'll probably win again. I mean, that was some phenomenal golf. But the course is going to play a little different, I suppose. You're going to see the ball bounding down like 9 and 10 fairway in particular, down to the bottom of the hill, where back in November they probably would have stopped up a bit quicker, especially the height. All those lunatic pros hit the ball, so it'll be interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if the same kind of players are kind of in and around as usual. It's horses for courses very much at Augusta, I think anyway. I mean, DJ's been close a good few times, and even a lot of the people chasing him home, back in November, would probably be up there again, and they've been thereabouts in the last probably half dozen years. If you look at the top 10 to top 20, there's even Freddie Couples kind of darts in there on like the Saturday Sunday and gets a kind of top 16 or whatever, and you Bernard Langer kind of he'll always throw in an under par round there, and it's amazing, like the players that that can kind of find a bit of inspiration at Augusta. So it'll be interesting to see if someone like Phil might get a bit of a spark this week. I know Dave Peltz I was listening to him on a different podcast, so sorry for mentioning other podcasts.
No, it's quite all right.
The Three Off the Tee podcast with two Irish pros, Harry Ewing and Ian St. John, but Dave Peltz was on saying like Phil I suppose spent a year just wanting to bomb it, so he focused all his time on absolutely hitting it as far as he possibly could, and added 20-30 yards to his game. But again, it could literally go anywhere, I suppose, a little bit like Phil's career, but he's done okay, I suppose, out of a guy who supposedly couldn't drive the ball, but then won at Muirfield, which is probably one of the toughest Open Championship venues of all time. So it'll be interesting, but Peltz was saying that Phil has probably spent the past year maybe trying to straighten out the distance. So at least if he's hitting the bombs are going a little straighter, or at least in the vague direction of the hole. And he loves Augusta, and he knows it so bloody well. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me You know, if he was right up there, you know, coming down the stretch. And I suppose nobody's as loved at Augusta out of the current crop than probably Phil as well. You know, he's probably the Seve or Arnold of his generation, especially the way he goes about it. He just goes for everything, and I mean, and his short game is phenomenal. Just to, you know, gives us all hope that we can get out of any kind of trouble, if we have a bit of imagination. So, you know, that'll be interesting. And I mean, the usual, I suppose, you know, everyone's waiting to see what DeChambeau might do. I mean, he was supposedly, if you believe the bookies, he was as nailed on as anyone really could have been for, you know, he was probably, people would have thought he was more nailed on for Augusta than Winged Foot last year in terms of a major, and he won, I suppose, the US Open when, you know, people thought Augusta might have been more suited to, as long as he was hitting it, but, you know, things just didn't work out. And I suppose the like, you know, foot and mouth disease a little bit, to saying, you know, Augusta's a par 68 for me really this week. So, you know, I think he was probably about 16 over par at the end of the event, going on a par 68, but or maybe worse. But, you know, don't open. You know, you could be a silent fool, but don't open your mouth and confirm to everyone that you actually are. So, you know, that was a bit stupid. That was a bit stupid. And I think the week off, kind of, you know, just get to Saturday night, and if you're leading, you know, maybe say some, maybe praise yourself, but like, Augusta's not a par 68 for anyone, not that I know of anyway.
Well, this morning, you know, as an example of that, I made a purpose of tweeting out on Twitter, you know, a comment that basically was, well, you know, it's Masters week. I'm waiting for whatever outlandish comment comes out of Bryson's mouth this week. You know, so, you know, yesterday they had video of him. I don't know if you saw it, but he was on the driving range. VJ is beside him on the range as well. And he's just I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was just swinging driver out of his shoes, as he always does. But it was like watching a semi-automatic gun being fired. It was like one after another. It was almost bizarre to watch it. You know, so we're going to touch on a little bit of the food now, I think. You know, the food at the Masters and the Champions Dinner. Everyone was sort of kind of joking before he decided on his menu, as in DJ, what they were going to be eating. You know, everyone was going to say, you know, multiple courses of sandwiches. I don't know, maybe chicken wings from Hooters. You know, so anyways, the menu came out, and looking at the menu, you know, it's not too bad. Appetizers, pig in a blanket. Can't turn down a pig in a blanket. You know, so that sort of kind of ties in with that whole, you know, that whole DJ thing. It seems like a DJ thing without knowing the guy. But then you get into the first course, which is like a salad, which is, you know, not too shabby, you know, or Caesar, which I love. I never turn down a Caesar salad, contrary to my waistline. And then, you know, you have mashed potatoes. I mean, there's filet mignon, there's lobster. What do you think overall of his menu choice?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed overall. I'd say it's probably the you know, he's appealing to the masses a bit, but I'm assuming it's something he'd eat out or in. It's probably the best Masters dinner I've seen in probably at least 10 years anyway. I mean, you know, pigs and blankets, as you said, yeah, can't go wrong with that. Lobster, thanks very much. Corn fritters, yep. Not sure exactly what the house salad is at Augusta, but I'm sure it's pretty good. And again, Caesar, whether it's chicken Caesar or Caesar, yeah, happy with that. Maybe a few surprised not to see, like, you know, are they calling them French or freedom fries these days? I'm not sure, but something like that, or roast potatoes as opposed to mashed potatoes and spring vegetables. I'm over mashed potatoes when it comes to anything golf anyway. That's stupid. That moron that came out with it anyway. If you're listening, please do not turn up this week at Augusta. And then, you know, fillet steak, my absolute favorite, and a little bit of surf with the turf. So with the miso marinated sea bass. So big ups to Dustin. And then you got peach cobbler and apple pie with vanilla ice cream. So yeah, just happy days. Yeah, just give me the lethal injection after that. I'm good to go.
You know what? And is there a more dessert or a more Georgia dessert to have than peach cobbler? I mean, it's the peach state. It just makes so much sense on so many levels, and it makes you wonder though if Paulina had something to do with this menu.
You'd never know. You'd never know. Look, I suppose whoever had anything to do with it, I'll tip my proverbial cap to them. So yeah, all good. Let's give Justin let's give DJ a bit of credit. I suppose people were, as you said, like people were thinking, maybe 5 courses of sandwiches, including an ice cream sandwich for dessert. So, but like he didn't bow to pressure, and he went with his gut, literally. No, I'd happily sit with the Augusta members now. I think, isn't it this evening? And enjoy that menu. That's for sure. Yeah, very good. Might recreate it during the year if I'm ever lucky enough or good enough to win a golf event in the future.
Now, sticking with food, just real briefly over at the Masters, the one thing that we hear about year in and year out is actually how cheap the concessions are. Whether it's beer, the sandwiches, they're I think $1.50. So the pimento cheese. Are you having a pimento cheese when you're there? Not if you go, but when you go to Augusta National.
When I go, exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, a big thing for us now is supporting local. So I suppose a pimento cheese sandwich is probably as local as you get in Augusta. So, yeah, 100%. I'm in.
Me too. What the heck? Why not? And after all, it's not the pickle and pimento loaf that we have here as a lunch meat, which is this processed stuff. I don't know if you have it over there or not, but boy, oh boy, I grew up on that stuff as a kid, and I can't even look at the packages now. So, yeah, it's pretty hairy stuff. But you know what? I'd have to try one just for the sake of trying it. But again, when you have beer that I think is $3 for a beer, $1.50 for a sandwich, you don't find that anywhere at any sporting event in the world. So it's sort of kind of funny how we see this at Augusta National.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. I mean, I don't know, like the prices they're kind of honored from 1928 or 32 or whatever. I think is it like the first Masters, I think, anyway. So that's kind of cool. And again, I suppose I've been at a couple of Open Championships and Ryder Cups, and all the food vendors are pretty much people that have paid to be there, and they're going to charge whopper prices. And it's not the best fish and chips you'll ever have. It's not the best beer you'll ever have. I mean, even even over in Stade de France, they do non-alcoholic beer, which my wife thought was the best beer she had ever tasted. €10 for it, and there's not even alcohol in it. So, so they're serving beer at the sporting event, but then when you're conning people, giving them non-alcoholic beer and then charging them €10 for the privilege. So, no, I think, look, Augusta got it right on the food side of it. So, no, fair play to them.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the actual tournament itself. So I haven't gone as far as looking at the weather forecast for this week down there, and that's something that I typically do. But looking at the fields, I mean, we know that Dustin is the favorite at 9-1, and ironically enough, I mean, he's been playing great golf over the last little while. He was a winner last week down in Texas at the Valero. Jordan Spieth is actually at 10-1 with Justin Thomas. And previously mentioned DeChambeau, he's sitting at 11-1 odds to win. So out of the favorites, who do you like as far as taking this thing home, putting on a yellow jacket, or maybe slipping on a second one or third? I've got a feeling for Justin Thomas. I think Spieth is in brilliant form, really good, and look, he loves Augusta, absolutely loves it. I mean, even the year Reed won, like he came out of absolutely nowhere, and then he snap hooked his driver on the last, and it came out of the trees about 40 yards from the tee, and he ended up hitting a tree with her driver up there, and I think he made bogey in the end. But it just shows what you can do. When you get on a roll at Augusta, even if we weren't even talking about him, it was like Tiger versus Reed that year, or sorry, Rory versus Reed that year.
So, I mean, Justin Thomas, I mean, I suppose the way he won the Players, and the ways, I suppose comfortable kind of shaping the ball as well, and his wedge game and his putting is just so good at the moment. And that's where you make your score around Augusta, especially when when you get out of position and you need to hit a wedge into certain spots of the green to get close to the hole, and again at the par fives. So I mean, there's lots. I think there's lots of positives for Justin Thomas, and he's just a bloody good player. I can't see him making too many mistakes. Like Phil and Speed, who I'd consider big contenders, especially Jordan. But I mean, like, Speed is like, I suppose, the new age Phil. He just hits it everywhere. Like, he had 8-iron last night for his layoff shot, and he snap hooked it. I mean, on the track, and I don't know if it was the TrackMan or Shot Trace or whatever, but oh my God, I mean, it was just he like put it out of town. Now somehow got a view of the pin, but God, I mean, he wasn't far off throwing it away right there with like snap hooking an 8-iron kind of. I mean, you wouldn't want to do it on 15 or 13 in the final round if you're going, no, I lay it up, and then you can't hit the 8-iron as straight as you hit your driver. So that'd be the one thing with Spieth, is that if he hits a few wayward ones, he'll obviously know where to miss it at Augusta. But that'd be the one question mark over him. I mean, look, if he gets on a roll with the putter, he could be very hard to stop if he gets off to a good start on Thursday. But I've got a little feeling for a good feeling for Lowry. I think he's a right major player. He turns up at the right time on the right weeks, as he's done with the Open of Portrush and the WGC, and he's won a few other big events, including the Irish Open as an amateur in 2009 at County Louth Golf Club. He beat Robert Rock in a playoff. So I think he's been close in a few tournaments. Kind of, I mean, the Players, obviously, he had a decent week. He did a bad, was it Friday or Saturday, and kind of edged him out of a proper chance. But I think out of those 5, there's always a couple that'll come through. But Lowry, Phil, JT, Speed, and probably Dustin. It's tough to discount him. I mean, Justin Rose seems to be up there. He's been up there a lot over the past 10 years. He's kind of in maybe the Ernie Els bracket in terms of he's due a win at Augusta. But like Greg Norman he could have probably won six green jackets and came away with none. So and Els similar as well. I mean, I think Mickelson beat him with that iconic putt to win his first major. Back a few years now. So there's those types of players that they just love it there. Westwood, I mean, is it his week? The sun's on the bag. He's been in brilliant form. He had a little recon mission with Shane Lowry, and I think Neil Manship, who's Shane's coach, they were up there, and Lee's son played literally the day or two after the Players. So he's had a nice rest, kind of getting ready for Augusta. So he's finally going to get that major monkey off his back. He might be a bit of a long shot there with Lowry, to bring a green jacket back to Europe.
And just looking at the odds of Lowry, you know what? I mean, I'm not a betting guy, so I shouldn't really be talking about betting and odds, but I do it every year just to see what's what with everybody, and just to get a feeling when I do an article for the Masters. And I mean, Lowry at 90-1. I mean, that's already a dark horse bet, and you know what? That could win somebody a little bit of money if they put $20 or $100 on it, or whatever they want to put on for a wager. But there's so many other names out there that, I mean, anyone can win almost any week on the tour now. And with something like the Masters, you can't not look at someone like Patrick Reed, who, one way or another, you just have a feeling that somehow, some way, love him or not, he's going to make noise of some sort this week. You can just sort of kind of, so Reed, I think, could be in there too in the conversation. Koepka, we don't know what's going on with him. He's been playing practice rounds down there. He's been on the range, but he's still nursing a bad, I think it's a knee now, I think that he's fighting or still fighting. So we don't know what's going on with Koepka. I mean, there's just so many guys that could win this thing ultimately. And I could definitely be on Team Lowry for a win here. One guy that I will mention too that I sort of like going into this, believe it or not, is Sung J M. He's one guy that sort of kind of plays some pretty good golf. He was on the President's Cup team. He showed himself well there. He showed himself very well since then, really. And someone like him could be there, and Abraham Anser as well, or Ansier, the diminutive Mexican fellow that also was in that President's Cup. So I think it's going to be a really good Masters with one of those deals where anything can happen.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're also bloody good. If they can get off to a decent start. I mean, like there's so much quality in the field. I suppose it's trying to keep yourself, a couple under par. At least through the first round, and try to get to 6, 7, 8 under par, maybe through 2 rounds. I suppose it's just once you get a bit of momentum at Augusta, it's tough to tough to fight against it, positively or negatively. I suppose if you start we've seen Rory has done it a few years. He's had a 2 or 3 over start, and he could be 8, 9 shots off the lead, and then you're pushing, and mistakes come. And I mean, Augusta, it's an infinitely scoreable golf course, as good as the pros are, but if you're pushing and trying to make it happen, it's difficult to do on any course, but particularly Augusta, and you short side yourself, you go for a pin and it goes long, or for example 15, like if you go for the green and 2, you're straight up over the pin, hits the back of the green and straight into the water, and you're thinking eagle and you walk off with a 7, so you're 3 or 4 shot swing, so you're not particularly happy with that. So yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't even know if Jason Day's in the field. I haven't looked at it properly. Haven't done my homework, but like he's another that was up there, kind of him and Rose were kind of guys that you'd always see in the top 5 or 6 over the past 10 years. I know Day's day in the sun, to excuse the pun, is kind of waned a little bit, but he's still a quality player, and if he gets into contention, he's a very good player, and he's got a lot of experience, and obviously he's a major champion, so that counts for a lot, especially down the stretch on Sunday. There's a lot of people going for be it their first major or their first Masters as well, and a few people that think they should be winning at Augusta, so that's something as well. There'll always be a couple of surprises, I suppose, at least to get to Saturday, that it'll be in and around the lead, and whether they can down those last probably 13, 14 home on Saturday evening, kind of that through Sunday, you can just kind of feel the kind of the tension building a little bit on the course, and every roar then is like, well, can't wait to see this now, what's happened, and that's a 16 roar, that's an eagle, that's this, that, and the other. So it's it's great entertainment, and be just interesting to see, obviously see how it all pans out. And starting, I suppose, with the par 3 tomorrow, it's always a good watch, but again, it's the kind of thing that some pros even give it a miss now, because they don't want even to be in the position of winning it, just in case they have to dump it in the water on 18 or the last hole on the par 3, just to make sure they don't win it. It's a funny kind of tradition of people not winning the green jacket when they've won the par 3. So
the stigma and the superstition that is the par 3 contest at the Masters. And of course we have, skipping the ball across the water. We have that's going to be going on, and it's just going to be, what, like I say, I always act like I'm not excited for the Masters, but I'm looking forward to the Masters. I do every year. So, I mean, it would just help if I would just stop lying to myself once and for all about this. So,
Yeah, I suppose it's, I mean, it's the shortest lead time between the final major of the year, which is usually August. Well, it has been August. I mean, obviously it's July now. Well, it would have been July with the Open, but last year was so crazy that you'd November then to April, so you're pretty much 5 months, and when you were back again, because it would usually be August to April. So you're talking a little bit longer. You're talking 8 months versus 5. But now the way it'll be July to April. So there's going to be, like, when we finally get to a regular majors season of April, May, June, July, which it's a bit crazy that they're month after month. But look, probably fits with the tour schedules and stuff, and there's less maybe interference with, like, the end of the season with the FedEx, and then right in Ryder Cup years that they can schedule it out a bit more. And whether May is more flexible for the PGA to move abroad, which they may or may not do, but there's been talk of that, and even the Open possibly doing so as well. But it's a good schedule, and look, April's just, especially in Ireland, it's kind of the real start of the golfing season. I mean, we'd play most lads and lassies would play St. Patrick's Day. We'll probably put the clubs away, depending on the weather, probably till Masters week then, and the clubs are out. Clubs are out usually the following Monday, because we spend all 4 days watching the golf in case we might miss something. So you're sitting down 12 hours of golf coverage, wall to wall. Which is it's just fun. It's just fun watching it.
Yeah, and I echo the same sentiment as you as well. With typically the golf season beginning after the Masters is over, because for the most part, that's actually when golf season typically begins. It's usually that April 15th kind of a thing for handicap season, with the RCGA. So, I always look at the Masters as being the start of the golf season. So it's sort of funny how you mention that, because, like I say, I echo the same sentiment. I feel the same way as you do, Tom. So to close things out, I'm going to put you on the spot with a question. So, yeah, so here's the question. You can only sit in one place. One place, you're not allowed to budge from that place except to go to the bathroom or to get a pimento cheese sandwich.
Okay.
Where are you setting up shop for the day?
Where am I setting up shop?
It's Sunday, by the way.
Sunday, yeah. Oh, geez. 16 has to be 16. It's just so much can happen. 13 and 15 are cool because of the eagle chances and stuff. But I think they're in 16 with a good view where the pin is. Hopefully see a bit of drama. There's generally a hole in one or two, and the leaders coming down the stretch. Then there's always usually a few ebbs and flows during the final round, especially when you get to 16. Obviously, hopefully it's not as good as over by then. But if there's 2 or 3 players in contention, and the final groups are leading the charge, and then you're waiting for that one that lands like 10 feet right, and has a little check and then starts rolling back down towards the hole, and everyone's like willing it in or willing it close at least, which it always ends up being when it hits anywhere right at the hole on 16, as long as you're not like 30 feet right and you end up at the top of the plateau there, where they sometimes put the flag on maybe the second or third round. So I think 16 for me.
Yeah, that's a great choice. I mean, for me, I think it would be Mr. Predictable. I would have a hard time not sitting at number 13.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a great hole, and it's a bit of a swing hole when you're coming out of 12, and they've hopefully not dunked it in Rays Creek, and it's at the end of MN Corner, and we've seen so much drama down the years. I mean, I think everyone remembers Phil's shot out of the pine straw, and there's been other phenomenal. I remember when Ola Tabel was going head to head with Norman, I think in was either 94 or 99. I think it was 94, and he followed Norman in. Norman had made eagle. I think Olatabel followed him in maybe for birdie, but just to hang on to the lead. So there's been amazing kind of moments on 13. I remember Faldo, it seemed like for 20 minutes nearly figuring out whether he'd hit a 3-wood or a 4-iron or 3-iron. He was there with, I think Fanny Siniston was still caddying from at that stage, and he was checking it lie and checking the stance. And that was the year that Norman kind of threw it away in 96. And,
yes.
Little things like that. And he absolutely pured this thing into the middle of the green. Then, like when hitting at 3 or 4 iron 220 yards was a good dig, as opposed to lads hitting it like 280 now with a 4 iron. So and you've I suppose great moments with Sevi and Jack and all the fantastic Masters winners. Tom Kite with the first ever probably greens book. They used to go around Augusta, especially around 13, all the swales and the slopes and stuff. So look, it's a great hole. And even 14 with that green on especially Saturday and Sunday, but where they put the pin on Sunday on 14 is great. But there's some there's some serious scoring opportunities. I know, like, it's definitely set up for drama with the final round pin positions. Like even on 2, like when Oosthuizen had his albatross there, I think it was the year Bubba won, beat him in the playoff. So there's just so much drama. It's like, it's tough to, I suppose. I'd like to be a bird for the final days. I could just fly around above and get the views properly, But I think like for me 16, or I'm not sure. I know there's one of the greens across from the 18th hole. So if you could. I forget now whether it's maybe 9 green, whether you could set up shop there and just get a proper view of 18, then them coming in, But again, 16 is a good spot because you get a view of 15 as well with the water there, so you'll have an idea what's going on. So, I'm just trying to cover many bases there, by sitting at 16, high enough to see him finish out in 15 and then see the tee shots on 16. I mean, it'll probably come down to, who can grab an eagle or a birdie on 15 and 16, en route to a green jacket. So, I'm sure it'll be a great watch.
Well, you, sir, are a very astute observer and golf fan, and that is a great decision when you put all that all together. And just closing things out, I just want to thank you for taking the time to join me today on TeeBox Chatter. Enjoy the Masters and enjoy the golf season when you get rolling over there.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, look, it's definitely whetting our appetite over here for golf. So I'm sure by the end of the week we'll pretty much be 2 weeks away from teeing it up ourselves. So we'll all be champing at the bit once once that comes around. But we're looking forward to a great week, and hopefully an Irish winner that'll make it all the better.
Very good and excellent. So I guess for now, we'll sign off. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next tee.
Cheers, Alex. All the best.